8 points in just 9 seconds. That's how many points Pacers Hall of Famer Reggie Miller scored in the final 18 seconds versus the Knicks in the 1995 playoffs. My name is Kane Loves Cali, and you guys enjoyed the Tracy McGrady 13 points in 33 seconds video, so why not do another video about an amazing comeback, but this time in the playoffs. The 1990s NBA had tons of great rivalries, but the one between the Pacers and the Knicks was special. One team in the biggest media market in the world, and the other in a small market Midwestern city. The teams were even, and each team had an NBA Hall of Famer on their side. Before I get into the actual moment, let me refresh your memory about the history of the Knicks and Pacers playoffs rivalry. Let's go through the battles that led up to the moment of Reggie Miller becoming the most hated man in New York. The first time the Knicks and Pacers met up in the playoffs was in the opening round in 1993. This was the 90s Knicks at the peak of their powers. They won 60 games and earned the first seed ahead of Michael Jordan's Bulls. The Pacers, on the other hand, barely got into the playoffs as the 8th seed and only won 41 games. The Knicks took care of business and won the first 2 games at home, but Game 3 set the stage for the rivalry between New York and Indiana for the decade. In that Game 3, John Starks and Reggie Miller were trash talking each other all night, but it went past just basketball trash talk and got physical. With 8 minutes left in the third, John Starks got baited by Miller's trash talk and headbutted Reggie Miller, which led to Starks' ejection. This led to a 30-11 run by the Pacers and ended the Knicks' chances of a sweep. Miller scored 36 points on 14-22 shooting. But that was Indiana's only win of the series, and the Knicks finished them off in Game 4. This was when first-round playoff series only went to 5 games. Fast forward to the 1994 playoffs, the Knicks and Pacers faced off again, but this time in the Eastern Conference Finals. Jordan was retired, and the Knicks were the favorite to go to the finals. The Pacers won 47 games and were the 5th seed. Both the Knicks and Pacers took care of business at their home courts, and the series was tied at 2-2. On to Game 5. It was one of those classic NBA playoff games from the 90s that featured tons of trash talk and a Pacers comeback led by Reggie Miller. The Knicks were up by 12 going into the 4th quarter and were in control of the game, but then Reggie Miller began to get hot from the field, making jumpers, which began a trash talking match, but it wasn't with a Knicks player, but Spike Lee on the sideline. This was the game where Reggie Miller did the famous choke sign. Reggie was really getting into it with Spike and would run down by him every time he made a shot. Reggie said Spike yapped at him, "You guys stink, you guys are still Hicks." Spike Lee's trash talk did nothing and only got Reggie more into the moment as he scored 25 of his 39 points in the 4th quarter, bringing the Pacers back to win 93-86. Reggie Miller was now public enemy number 1 in New York. The rivalry was at its peak and Indiana was 1 game away from making the finals. But the Knicks won the next 2 games and won in Game 7 behind Patrick Ewing's 24 points and 22 rebounds. Now we move on to the main part of the video, Game 1 of the 1995 Eastern Conference semifinals, where Reggie Miller created one of the greatest comebacks in NBA history. For the 3rd year in a row, the Pacers and the Knicks meet in the playoffs, but this time in the semifinals. The Knicks had home court for a 3rd straight year and were looking to put away the Pacers for a 3rd year in a row. Game 1 at MSG went back and forth. Indiana was up 80-77 going into the 4th quarter, but it wasn't exactly Reggie Miller's moment that night until the final 30 seconds. What you might not remember from that Game 1 is that Indiana Pacers center Rick Smits was the best and most dominant player on the floor in the first 46 minutes of Game 1. He ended up fouling out with 1 minute and 40 seconds left in the game, but he scored 34 points and held Patrick Ewing to 4 of 15 shooting. His 7'4" frame was too much for New York to handle, and he kept the Pacers in the game the whole night because the team wasn't playing that well. Reggie Miller was 5 of 16 from the field until those 8 points in the final 30 seconds. This insane comeback just does not happen without Rick Smits being a monster in the paint for the first 46 minutes. "Reggie's still our main guy," said Rick Smits, "but there are going to be games when I have to step up a little bit." Here's also what Rick Smits said his feelings were when he went to the bench after fouling out. "We were pretty down, but it's never over till it's over. I've seen weirder things happen." With 18 seconds left in Game 1, the Pacers are down 105-99 and are inbounding the ball, and Reggie is being defended by his biggest Knicks rival, John Starks. Reggie Miller catches a pass from Mark Jackson, immediately turns around and swishes a 3 right on John Starks with 16.4 left. All the Knicks need to do is inbound the ball, make some free throws, and force the Pacers to make some well-defended three-point shots. But the Knicks have no timeouts, and Anthony Mason has to inbound the ball. Everyone is guarded. Knicks guard Greg Anthony slips, and Mason passes it right to Miller. He turns around and takes one dribble and drains another three-point shot with Spike Lee watching on the side. Miller said in the locker room, "I didn't know Anthony Mason was going to throw it right into my hand." It is now 105-105, and the Pacers foul John Starks after they get the inbounds in. Starks was a career 74% free throw shooter. That's not amazing, but you're not expecting him to miss both free throws. But that's exactly what happened. Starks missed both, and Reggie Miller was stunned. Reggie told the media that "you assume John Starks will go at least 1 for 2 at the line. I was shocked he missed both." After the miss, Ewing misses a shot after tapping the rebound to himself, and Miller got the rebound, but for some odd reason, Anthony Mason fouls Reggie Miller to put him on the free throw line. He was already 12 of 13 from the free throw line that night and made both free throws to give him the lead and the 8 points in 9 seconds. Greg Anthony brings up the ball with seconds remaining. He's defended well, but falls down again. The clock runs out, and the Pacers erupt on the floor of Madison Square Garden. They were not supposed to win that game. Right after the game, Miller lets off more shots at the Knicks and screamed, choke artist," while he ran to the locker room. Miller also suggested to the NBC reporter after the game that the Pacers might sweep the Knicks. Here's the newspaper headline for the Indianapolis Star after the game. But this time, it wasn't the Knicks winning the series, it was the Pacers. They closed it out in Game 7 in a 97-95 win after Patrick Ewing blew a layup with 2 seconds left on the clock. Finally, after losing in 7 games the year before and getting knocked out in the first round in '93, the Pacers had finally beat the Knicks in a playoff series, and it all started in Game 1 behind one of the greatest comebacks in NBA history. To this day, Reggie Miller's comeback still makes him smile. I still smile thinking about it. To do it in New York on that stage against them, it was us, Indiana versus them, New York small market versus big market. That's why I smile. And that is the story of Reggie Miller's 8 points in 9 seconds against the Knicks in the 1995 Eastern Conference semifinals. If there are any other NBA moments, let me know which topic I should do research on. I had fun making this one. I have some other cool video ideas that should be coming out soon. Leave a like if you enjoyed, as it helps my channel grow. My name is Kane, and I'll see you guys on my next upload.